Okay, sit down. Sit down. Good boy. Good boy. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. As always, if you stay to the end, I'll show you the notes I was playing. Sunny came up right as filming started, so I decided just to let it happen. Because you know what? When you don't have enough distractions in your mind, add a shoulder cat. It's very distracting. So, have you ever heard this definition of yoga? Yoga is submission of lower desire to higher desire. I'll say it again. Yoga is submission of lower desire to higher desire. That's how Sri Brahmananda Saraswati defines yoga. And I remember when I first came across that definition, I thought that was so weird and I didn't understand it, and I had never heard yoga defined in this way. As it happens, this week, some psychologists have stumbled upon a sort of new understanding of self-discipline. So they're saying now that the difference between those who are able to enact self-discipline more effectively and more consistently and those who aren't able to comes down to one main factor. And that factor is awareness. Awareness of one's inner state of being. In particular, the awareness of the conflicted or at odds feelings that arise when we want something, but we also want something else. We want something, but we know that fulfilling that desire wouldn't actually be the most helpful thing right now. So the ability to stay aware through that process, the ability to stay with the discomfort of dissonance or the discomfort of of being sort of at tug of war with yourself. And and as we know, yoga is all about increasing our awareness. And we do that in many ways by experiencing these little uncomfortable experiences, right? Sometimes some asana will be difficult. Sometimes understanding what the heck the teacher wants from us is difficult. Sometimes meditation is difficult. Sometimes shavasana is difficult. There's all these little difficulties that arise throughout the practice, whether they be physical, mental, emotional, and we are sort of navigating through them with awareness and breath, and sort of with nowhere else to go but to sort of sit and reconcile with our own inner tug of war, our own inner push and pull, right? So that little inner, okay. So another word for practice is tapas. Tapas also shares the root for fire. And tapas also means, tapas meaning practice acknowledges that there's often a friction. There's often a distinction between two things, and when the effort goes, right, when the two sticks rub together, that's what creates fire, and that's what creates transformation. So so effort is tapas, practice is tapas, right? That little effort of resisting just giving in to whatever object of your attention is calling your mind, right, Sunny? I mean, Sunny's a perfect example because he does just follow whatever his mind and heart says. He eats when he needs to eat. He goes to the bathroom when he needs to go to the bathroom. He climbs on my shoulders when he needs to climb on my shoulders. And there's really no talking him out of it, let's say. So, back to the idea of tapas and practice. Okay, so the yogic teachers of the past have observed that when the mind encounters objects, it tends to either want to grasp them, consume them, hold them, keep them, possess them, or reject, dismiss, run away from. And so these two terms are raga and dvesha, craving and aversion. And whenever we encounter objects, we have this tendency to either, to project onto it either desire, wanting, or aversion, not wanting, right? And so the yogis of the past noted, I mean, just look, even when we meet new people, we often have a tendency of, look, even when we meet new people, I have observed that we often start to relate to a new person by our sort of list of likes and dislikes. Oh, I liked the new movie. I didn't like the new movie. I like this kind of phone. Well, I don't like that kind of phone. I like this kind of phone. I like outdoor activities. I like indoor activities. I like this. I like that. I don't like this. I don't like that. And we sort of start to meld together an identity that's even sort of based on our likes and dislikes. And the yogis of the past would say that's kind of a misunderstanding of who we are, right? So these great teachers, what do they say? What do we do about the fact that craving and aversion lead to a misunderstanding of self and also to suffering, some degree of suffering by sort of always wanting more or feeling like we've got too much of this thing and not enough of that thing. And, that's what creates suffering in the mind. So what do we do about it? The texts say, practice Pratyāhāra. And Pratyāhāra is the process of drawing the attention away from the objects of the senses in different ways through different practices for the purpose of understanding the nature of objects, understanding the nature of the projections of the mind that want to reach out and grab or reject objects and assign judgment or praise or assign like or dislike, all that. And then to also understand the nature of awareness. So by pulling our attention back, or by pulling back that part of us that wants to get lost in the world of objects, we can somehow gain a better understanding of mind and of awareness and of self. Imagine, people were writing about this stuff a long time ago. I often think, how would these sages and teachers even comprehend the level of distraction that we have today in our Western culture? It is overwhelming, right? I have to imagine, even when these people were teaching about Pratyāhāra and practicing Pratyāhāra, probably the most stimulating thing is an ox cart rolls by during your meditation, and these yogis are like, no, that's just overstimulation. Right? I mean, maybe it was easier to understand these things when there was less distraction, but you see my point as well, that just being inundated with all of our apps apps, our devices, our advertisements. Our senses are just completely overwhelmed all the time. One book that I cannot recommend enough is called Stolen Focus. And it's not necessarily about yogic things, although it is relevant to this topic. And the subject matter of the book is to examine and then enhance our practices around protecting our attention a little bit more wisely. I think he even refers to it as an attention revolution, which is a nice turn of phrase. I like it. Ooh, turn of phrase, pun intended. Okay. So in the book, he gives several suggestions for how to manage your attention in a world where we can't really get rid of our devices at this point in time. But there are techniques. Some of them I already do because I'm a yoga teacher. So my phone is always on silent because I'm going from class to class to class and I just don't bother turning the ringer on again. So it just happens to always be on silent, which annoys my friends and family, but it's functional for me. Also turning off notifications on all of the apps so that it's really a conscious choice when you choose to check your email, when you choose to check a social media app. Those notifications aren't just coming up at any random time. It's I choose to look at this. And and I'm sure there are others. Those are two things that I was already doing before I read the book, but have really helped me to manage my attention. And there were others in the book that I didn't do, but that you might find helpful. Also, in celebration of this month, this December, on December 1st, I took TikTok off my phone, and I'm trying to do the whole month of December without TikTok. Because even though it's not taking up so much time, it is taking up enough of my time and attention that automatic desire to open it and to feel a little bit entertained for a few minutes is taking away from the amount of time that I have for playing music, studying Sanskrit, learning Spanish, hanging out with Sunny. And right, so I'm taking a moment to examine that automatic response of like, let me just entertain myself for a moment or two in between things. So I'm doing that. Good luck to me. I think we're almost halfway through, so I think I'll make it. Jury's out. Anyways, stick around and I'll show you the tune that I was playing and a little trick with it. Okay. So I'm going to start here on a G and a D, and I'm just going to walk this down. You'll see. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Change to a C. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. I'm going to change down to that B. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. And then, very sneaky, I'm going to move up to this A and D. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Let's play it through. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So this works even if you want to move it up to an A chord or even down to an F chord. You can move up or down. You just have to keep the same relationships between the notes. So if I play it a little higher, I still go through the same pattern, but you'll notice I had to adjust it for the position of an A major chord. You can move it anywhere along the keyboard. You just have to be aware that the relationship between the notes stays the same. If you're newer, you can stick to the G, D initial positioning. And if you have a little bit more experience, you can start to move that chord around the keyboard.